Alright, let's move on to the nodes. For the nodes, we need to first represent the important loops around the nodes. One of the loops is going to be the left line. Okay, that one goes all the way around the face. Let me actually drag that down a little bit. Okay, all the way around the face. I can keep it going. And then you wrap around the mouse all the way go to the end over here, and I can drag this guy closer to each other and merge to the middle. Okay, and the reason they can automatically merge there is because of this auto weld is on. If you turn that off, then you cannot do that. Okay, so it's just something I think that is worth mentioning. But let me just drag my vertices around to make this loop looks more fluid. Alright, another thing I think that are worth mentioning is that you want to keep the loops fairly even. Okay, now that's not because they because they look better, but rather that's going to help you a lot on two things. One is the rigging process will be easier because they're nice and even, so the weight painting and the blend shape you do later on will be very easy to predict where to go. And another thing is for the texturing process, if the edges are really close to each other, you will have less stretching. Okay, or not close actually. If they're very even, you will have less stretching. Anyway, so this loop keeps going forward and ends on the edge of the nostril. Okay, somewhere here. And then the nostril then will be a circle, right? So let me actually do that here too. Okay. All right, and maybe keep going here and going up. Just wrap around this area. Okay. Maybe I can have just one more loop down here. All right. Now, of course, you can be more detailed, like that this guy goes in, right? So it's not necessarily quite there, but let's just keep things simpler for now. And it doesn't. The topology doesn't have to be represent the muscle structure by any means. It is bad practice to try to match all the topology with the structure of the muscle, because that's going to make the topology really messy. Again, the topology, when I was talking about what's needed for the topology, what's the purpose, the three purposes, none of them represent as is used, right, is for the anatomy. None of those are for anatomy. We're using those for deformation, for rigging purposes, right, for animation, and for texturing, right, but for shape, but not for muscle. Okay, let me just fill in this gap. You can see we're just basically connecting these two loops, okay, to create the middle part of the nose. We have the loop here, right, for the holes, and we have this loop, right, for the left line. Okay, you can see it's wrapping around the nose. All right, now for the middle of the tip of the nose is basically just fill in with surfaces, so that's not going to be super hard to do. Okay, all right. But I kind of wanted to have one more loop here to make the curvature represented better, because one loop is not enough to represent this big bodge, so that's why I added a new loop just to make that shape looks better. Okay, I can then tweak the positioning of those points. Okay, now moving on down to the side of the nose, then we can keep going. Okay, so we keep those loops going in, and we can keep going from there. Okay, and keep going down. Oh, one more thing I want to do is let me actually check this guy over here a little bit, and I kind of wanted to delete these. So one more thing I want to do is just another loop to represent this crease that we're seeing here. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I have a loop to wrap around this little crease. Okay. And that also goes forward and stops here. Okay. Alright, we can even those guys out a little bit. Okay. Alright, and this keep going to the middle. Okay, so we have one more loop here that is representing that really sharp crease here. Now you want to have that loop to be able to represent it. Okay, now it's time to really extend from the the tip to the side of the nose. Okay, let me keep going from there. Okay, and I'm thinking maybe I can, well, I can either have one more loop going down or have it go this way. I'm going to choose to go this way because that's going to make it easier for me to go down there. Okay, so let's see, we have one more loop goes up and one more, and just need to fill in this gap. As you can see, I need one more loop here. Okay, it's no problem because we have a bigger turn here, so I wanted to have enough stuff to represent it. Okay, now I can just fill in all three. Oops. That one and this one. Okay, all right, cool. So now we have the side of the nose also represented. Again, just make sure that your lines are occupying the part you want to represent, right? You can see I have this line exclusively positioned on the lower contour of the nose to really mark that area, right, to enhance it. Okay, so that's going to be the nose. And then moving on to the nostril, we can just keep going in, right? So let me show you a different trick to make this part. Holding down right mouse button and go to object mode, okay, and then hit the Q button to go to selection, and then we can hit Ctrl+1 to isolate our model, okay, and then we can go holding down right mouse button on the model and go to edge mode, and you can double click on this edge. Okay, now what we can do is holding down shift and right mouse button, go for extrude edge. Okay, and then you can hit the R button to scale it in. You can see now we're scaling everything in nicely. Okay, and then we can go, let's actually redo that, and holding down right mouse button, go to vertex mode, and we can drag those vertex and then move them around. But let's actually keep doing a little bit. I can go to edge mode and just do that again. Shift and right mouse button, go for extrude edge, and then extrude them in one more time. Okay. All right, I think that's enough. So let's go to the object mode and go back to Quad Draw 2. Ctrl+1 to also have our model back. You can see we have created all those faces inside already. Now what we can do is holding down shift and drag around to smooth out their location so that we can make them look more even. Okay, that's some traditional modeling I just showed you. Traditional modeling is still quite relevant to me because they can help me to quickly extrude things out. It's harder to use the extend in the Quad Draw 2. I think it's easier to just extrude. Okay, so in case you forget what I did there, let me just show you again. Right, so what I did is, first of all, go to object mode, hit Q button, right, Ctrl+1, right mouse button, go up, double click, shift and right mouse button, go extrude edge, hit R button to go to scale and just shrink them in. Okay, by dragging that little yellow box in the middle. And then you can go holding down right mouse button, go object mode again, and then turn on Quad Draw 2 one more time, and then Ctrl+1 to go back. Okay, to show everything again. So yeah, that's some traditional modeling. I hope that's not too confusing, but you can also just manually draw those things in if you wanted to. Okay, I just need to want the nostrils shape to be represented more or less. Alright, so that's gonna be it for the nose part. Moving on to the next, we're gonna go to the mouth. Okay, see you next time.